There's a huge gap in the market for young people that's properly trained and well groomed for ultra high risk security operations and for executive protection. I've been serving in Iraq for 4.5 years and identified a huge gap for multi-skilled, well-groomed security operatives. And knowing that South Africa does not have a national service or national conscription anymore, it's not a viable career option for young people. They want well-paid, high-income careers, and they want to be assured that they can advance themselves through the ranks. And that is something that the international global security industry can offer them, provided that they are well trained and that they are well groomed and that they are trained by seasoned professionals and obviously mentored as well.
First of all, I would like to say Bastion helped me a lot for my background, where I'm coming from. Yes, my daddy when he was alive was a breadwinner and able to look after us, but the moment he passed away, something clicks on my mind. Now I'm a man enough. I have to stand for myself. I don't have to go to my mom and say, mom this, mom that, mom this, mom that. But anyway, Bastion, I can say I've already see the light where I'm going to. It's gonna change my dream. I'm so happy about that. And the training which he gives me is the best training I've never seen in my life. When I'm doing the training now, I'm doing it practically. It's two different things when you see something and when you do something. So when you do something, you can able to differentiate now that no, this is hard, and it's very good training. I can say Bastion for me is number one.
The course at Bastion includes a lot of different programs. So you start with basic, obviously, and when you pass your fast bait, as it is now, then you go to the more specialist phase, where we did water orientation, we did bush training, we did minor tactics, we did survival, we did a lot of different courses to be able to go out on ships to do anti-piracy and all that type of stuff. We did we did advanced driving. The course has a lot of different programs which fits into 1 year. It's actually unbelievable that you can do that much in 1 year.
If I can picture myself going forward, I guess my idea would always be high risk security some way, or VIP protection. And concerning the training, they prepare you as best as they can for it and prepare you for the situations coming to the future. But as they teach you here, every situation coming is different, and what Bastion does is prepares you as best they can with learned and experienced instructors who have been in those situations, and giving their knowledge to you so you'll be ready for that situation. But on the day, every situation is different, and they prepare you to put your own skills and your own things forward that you've learned from Bastion. When that situation arises, you'll be able to handle it professionally and tactically correct.
The 12-month security training must be comprehensive. Firstly, because your basic training sets the basis from which you will operate, from which all your training will derive for the next 12 months. That entails your basic weapon training, on which we focus a lot on firearm safety. Obviously discipline. Your operatives need to be well disciplined. They need to have a basic routine to work from. And obviously they need skills like basic map reading and land navigation with and without instruments. They need to have an understanding of how to conduct searches, how to conduct arrests, what the legal aspects are, etc. And also to accredit them in the South African security industry. So going forwards, to train them up as resolutions operatives, they must go through what we call a vastbyt. Vastbyt is the Afrikaans word for to bite down hard and to never let go. And the purpose and the aim of vastbyt is to make sure that our operatives can apply the basic security skills which they acquired during their basic training under simulated operational conditions, under which there's a lot of stress as well, and to make sure that they can build the bridge between basic training and the application in operational circumstances.
It was looking so simple, but when we were there using live round, Now I was quite nervous, the adrenaline, the heartbeat, being scared. What if maybe accidentally releasing an AD, then taking out one of my buddies? How is it going to be after the training? But that makes me to be a man enough, being strong, believing myself, believing my buddies. I apply the drills which Bastion teach me each and every day. So when I was doing it for the first round, it was so quite nervous. I don't know how to lie. The heartbeat was there. I feel like crying. But after the first round, yeah, I feel the adrenaline now is going down. The heartbeat is going down. Then I keep going. But it was hard because you have to work harder. You need to move. You don't have to check whether there's a bush, there's some stones, there's some rocks. If you have to dive, you have to dive. If you have to shoot, you have to shoot. There is no time for playing.
Well, I would like to see more young farm boys going to Bastion Training Academy like I did. It doesn't mean to say you have to go into the security industry. Going to Bastion Akademie is definitely not the case. I mean, Bastion, you can go and do anything after Bastion and you will be good at what you do, because it teaches you self-discipline, concentration. It teaches you to, one of the big things we learned was attention to detail, small stuff like that, which you wouldn't know. But once you're done with Bastion, then you know, then you understand what it's about.
When we were training in the bush, I actually enjoyed it. It was good fun. In Africa, growing up in the bush, it was good, but taught me tactically how to move tactically in the bush without being detected, moving as a group, clandestine group. Yeah, it was definitely learned a lot from it. Setting up positions, OP points. It was a very good experience and learned a lot.
In the present day, the poachers come with a wide array of automatic firearms. I mean, there's no law, no government that restricts them regarding their armaments. So they come with automatic weapons of the day. R1 assault rifles, R4 assault rifles, AK-47s. They come in groups of between 18, sometimes up to 40 people in a group. Now obviously farmers and game parks can't afford to deploy teams of 10, 20 people in a team. They have to balance the efficiency of the security complement against cost. That's why your operatives need to be well trained. So when they bump into a bunch of elephant poachers or rhino poachers, they need to be able to come out of that alive. They need to apply a high standard of combat discipline to make sure they come out alive.
I use them in my company because they are well-trained guys. They are more specialized in security, in doing specialized operations, and it makes you can cut your group in half because everyone knows exactly what to do.
So we are trained to take on anti-poaching situations. We're trained to track if we come across obviously a hunting or a poaching situation. We can track down the poachers, corner off areas, and sometimes poachers, they get a bit brave and they can fight back, and we are trained to eliminate them if need be, but also of course take them alive. And yeah, Bastion covers all of that.
Yeah, one day I think of that I have to, in fact I have to help, because this situation now is going harder and harder, and our generation, the one that are going to come after us, they are not going to see the big five. They are not going to experience what they are talking about when they're talking about the big five. So I'm willing to help and I'm ready to take those decisions now. At least I had the opportunity to go at Messina to experience it. I know what I have to do, so I can take that opportunity.
Well, I can use it in my personal experience. In my personal experience in the security company I have, a part of the division is anti-poaching, and for that reason, last month we run a big operation, for anti-poaching operation, protecting wildlife against people that don't have any value for animal life. And for that reason, Bastion gave me the opportunity to go toe-to-toe with guys with firearms. And Bastion's training surrounding anti-poaching is really world recognized.
So once they proved themselves during fastbait and they passed, they proceed on what we call the specialist security training course. And that is a wide array of subjects. For example, we do water orientation with them, which entails stuff like maritime reconnaissance, tactical kayaking, kayak training, basic small boat training. They need to camouflage and conceal themselves in the water. They need to do the STCW course, which is an international registered and accredited course, a prerequisite for operations on all international vessels.
With Bastion, you do get thrown into a group of guys, young guys, the same as you. There's testosterone, there's a lot of things. So you learn how to adjust with different types of characters and personalities, and I think it's important, especially for what's going to happen afterward. You learn camaraderie, you learn how to support one another. You know what you learn. You get to understand what real teamwork is about. It's not the kind of teamwork that you see in your school camps or those things that I want to get the children, for instance, to understand. It's completely different. It's a matter of when you are employed by some company with these group of people that you've been trained with, that you know that you will be able to trust them with your life. It's a bond that you make. It's a responsibility as well.
That's quite scary reason why we as black people, we don't have those opportunities, for an example, to go out and swim, or maybe having swimming pools in our house. So the moment you see water, you think of, what if I will drown? What if my buddies, they will never help me? What if maybe my instructors, they will be busy discussing something while you are in there? But for an example, for me, each and every day I was quite nervous, because I've never get that opportunity to being in the water. Like the dam which we are using is quite deep. We just use the one like in our areas, small streams, you can able to get in and out. But when you have to take 1 hour being in the water, now I'm starting asking myself, am I going to spend 1 hour in the water? But as I said, always believe in yourself, believe in your bodies. The moment you drown, it will be there for you. So for me, it was quite nervous, because I've never get that opportunity. It was the first thing ever in my life, like to being in the water for a long period of time.
Then we also teach them basic survival, to teach them how to survive behind enemy lines when they're cut off from own forces. The survival course also includes tracking and anti-tracking, imperative skills for conducting anti-poaching operations. We also do the basic urban combat course. As the name implies, it's to train them to conduct urban operations if they are engaged with terrorists or with criminals in an urban setup, how to properly fire and to conserve ammunition, and all the tactical drills that goes along with that. And also the tactical rural security course, which is quite different. Obviously it's in a rural environment. It comes with a new discipline. For example, your tracking and your anti-tracking skills must be on par. It's a whole new, different camouflage and concealment procedure which you have to follow, because people must understand that the threat in the present day totally changed. Criminals and terrorists alike these days are well armed, well trained. They are focused. They're not there to play or fool around. They are there to achieve what they came for. And that's why it's imperative to train our resolutions operatives to the best standards of our ability, to make sure that when they are encountering terrorists in a shootout, that they have the skills and the ability to survive that. So we train them in a wide array of different security skills to make sure at the end of the year they've got a selection of careers to follow. So we basically give them the global security industry in their hand. Secondly, and most importantly as well, if a company should decide to change its services, for example, it wants to change from a land-based operation to more sort of maritime-based operation, then they don't have to recruit new operatives. Our operatives are already trained for those skills. So there's no additional costs inflicted to the international security company wanting to change over. So that's why we need to build in flexibility and different options in our training as well.
It's amazing to see how these young boys, sort of gets transformed, to young men in the first couple of months. Whatever they do there, it's always interesting to see. Even some of my staff members always notice. They say, "Listen, it's just a young 18-year-old, 19-year-old who was here a couple of months ago, and then a couple of months later, when they rock up here for another reason or follow-up or whatever, it's a total different individual, much more matured."
I can suggest for young people to come to Bastion, but in one condition, please don't take me otherwise. Number one, it needs your mindset. When I'm talking about your mindset, I'm not mean like you have to be brave enough like in a classroom. Yes, that one you also need to have it, but your mindset, how strong are you? Through difficult times of the training, you will able to stand there continuing with the training, and you need to be physically strong. You need to be that kind of a guy who's not coming from a rich family where you say, "Mom, this," then your mom said, "Okay, my boy, I'll give it to you." You need to be that kind of a guy whom's hunger for your dreams, whom's hunger for achieving what you want. Not someone whom will be pushed by his daddy or by his mom, or when you go for Facebook, you just see the way we train, then you're like, "Oh, I can do it, this thing is simple." No, it's not simple. It needs a man, and it needs someone whose hunger for a dream to join Bastion. But everybody is welcome. Believe in yourself, prove yourself who you are and what are you made of. Then at Bastion you will make it.
Emerald Risk Solutions is the operational side of our business. It provides operational services like security guards. We do risk analysis, we do anti-poaching, and an array of other security operations. And our success story is based on the fact that we follow a proven process, starting with a risk analysis, which leads up to the writing of a security plan, which details the ins and the outs of a client's risks and how to mitigate those risks. And then from the security plan, we derive our duty sheets, and obviously from that, the recruitment of our officers, and as well as our quality assurance plan. So it is a loop that is closed. So we believe that you must involve your security into the management process of the company. It must be part and parcel of your company management. That's why we are involved with stock takes. We want to know what shrinkages are. We want to know where all the loose ends are, so that we can manage all the security assets to focus on the issues on that specific site. Because in the end of the day, you must save money. You want to see your security as a benefit and not as a necessary evil.
What struck me about them as a company, as a security company, was that, number one, the passion with which these people actually presented themselves. Emerald presented themselves as a company that specializes in security operations, not just that as such. They also focused on offering you a total risk solution. Something that for us in the industry was quite important at the time. To have partners in our business that actually works together with us, but also sees the bigger business and understands the broader picture that we are working towards.
As a man, you're going to be the head of your household one day, and you have to take responsibility, taking care after your wife and your children. We also believe in to accept and to take responsibility, to instill standards. If you come onto a site and there's no basic routine, there's no basic procedure, it's your job, your responsibility to make sure that there's a basic routine to be followed. People want to look up to you. They need to follow your example.
Well, I think first off, there was a certain level of honesty and integrity that I experienced with them. And looking at the way they presented their business, the business was very professionally presented. A broad base of experience within the company and an overall knowledge, a knowledge that you don't normally find in one single company. You normally have experts in different fields, but they gave us an overall feeling of a company that truly understands macro and microeconomical factors that influences our business. Well, at the time I was involved with the Starwood Hotels and Resorts Group, and they initially did a security contract for us at the Sheraton Pretoria, a total risk solution contract, and that was something that we were very satisfied with, a very professional way, taking care of security of what is probably one of the most prominent properties in South Africa from a hotel point of view. Their main focus was guarding services for the building, as well as operating the control and emergency control rooms. Being a property that was quite frequented by diplomats, presidents, kings, queens and world leaders, it was important for us to have an international company that can work with us on these type of international events. So they handled all the security operations of the particular property for us, including risk control, where they assisted us greatly in investigations into areas where we found we were lacking in terms of control. I also started operating some hotels for Starwood Hotels and Resorts internationally, and at some point I found myself in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, where I employed the services of Frick and his team again to do a risk analysis for me. Now this was during a time when terrorism was quite high in the Middle East, and Saudi Arabia, Riyadh specifically being a focal point. I needed somebody that could come in and give me an accurate, honest and educated assessment in terms of the property that we had, in terms of new security measures that we need to implement. Frick spent a couple of weeks on this project and produced a 400-page document that detailed every possible risk that we could have, from terrorism up to stock losses, up to potential natural disasters. It was a really encompassing document, and when we presented this document to the actual owners of the property, they were so impressed by it that they released a capital budget over a period that actually helped us implement a large number of these measures that Frick assisted us with.
And that's why Bastion have a non-compromising approach to standards. You meet the standard or you don't. There's no re-examination in a firefight with criminals or terrorists. The better trained, the better disciplined guy is gonna come out alive. And I have a moral obligation towards each and every student to instill that standard of discipline. And it's not easy to adjust yourself to that kind of discipline, because society at large today has an indisciplined, irresponsible way of going about things. But we change that with our training.